From Alex Jinglestein, should the Dolphins sign KJ Wright? They can if they want. I don't think they need him necessarily because, remember, they just paid Jerome Baker. That's one of their off-ball linebackers. Let's say they use, we'll call it 2, given the way that they can utilize guys like Jalen Phillips and Andrew Van Ginkel and others on that roster, and Emmanuel Ogbah too. Jerome Baker, they also added Bernard McKinney, excuse me. Those are the 2 starters. Now, I think KJ Wright is probably better than McKinney for now, but they've committed to 2 guys already. KJ Wright wants to sign super cheap. I always say yes to that. But if he's not going to, I don't really see the benefit of Miami adding him, given what they have already at the off-ball linebacker position. So will the Dolphins have a top 10 defense this year using DVOA? They were just outside of that metric last year. I think top 10 is a good benchmark for Miami to aim for this year. I'd say that, yeah, they probably will be a top 10 defense. Get your votes in, though, for me. Y for yes or N for no. From Ray Grange, no relation to Red, more likely to make the playoffs, Patriots or Dolphins? I think the option here is, or the favorite here should be Miami. They made the playoffs last year. They're still a good football team. As long as Tua plays better, they should be a playoff contender. It is, however, tough for me to ever truly doubt Bill Belichick. Patriots should also be better. So I am leaning Miami, but I think New England has a real chance as well. From Andrew Brockers, will the Dolphins trade away one of their wide receivers? Maybe. Possible. In fact, I think they're going to try. It's not guaranteed, but Miami right now has excess depth at wide receiver. Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, guaranteed roster locks. On most teams, and for where they were drafted/invested in, you would think Preston Williams and Lynn Bowden would be locks, but Bowden's already been traded once. Williams might have some actual trade value if they want to move him. And they've also got Jakeem Grant, who they probably will try to trade. Albert Wilson, Robert Foster, Alan Hearns, Malcolm Perry, Matt Collins have all played NFL games. I think they've all got starts, too. So the Dolphins go 11 deep at rosterable wide receivers. There's no chance all those guys make the roster. So yes, Miami will at least try to trade somebody. Whether or not they get a trade partner, that remains to be seen. I want you guys now to name a player who you think gets traded. Is it one of those Dolphins receivers? Is it a bigger name player like an Aaron Rodgers, Stephon Gilmore, Xavien Howard, or somebody else? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. A player who you think ends up getting dealt. Jay, anything the Cowboys would rather trade for? Xavien Howard or Jamal Adams? They're not trading for Adams. Just the Seahawks are going to pay him. So Howard is probably the fit there because the Cowboys have a box safety already in in Donovan Wilson. Howard fills a bigger need if they move Kelvin Joseph too, probably. So I go Howard over Adams for Dallas at this point. John Dorman, Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans. Who is 1, 2, 3? I think I'm going to go with Keenan Allen because I just love his route running. It's a tough 1, 2, 3. I'll go Allen, Evans, Robinson. You could talk me into any order on that front. All 3 of those guys are legitimate wide receiver ones. For Hyper 3, who is the most underrated NFL player right now? Safety Jesse Bates. He is one of the best safeties, like top 3 or top 5, and he ain't 5, by the way. I think Jesse Bates should be viewed in this almost the same tier as a Justin Simmons, a Minkah Fitzpatrick, those guys. He doesn't get that hype, though. So I'm going to go Jesse Bates, the safety from the Cincinnati Bengals. From Ray Grange, best secondary. I think you have to, the first thing that comes to mind for me at least, the Denver Broncos have to be inside that conversation. They're deep at corner. They've got great safeties. I think Denver is at least in the top 3 there. I like the Giants secondary a lot. I like Washington secondary too. But I think that Denver is my pick. From Adam White, surprise team this year and biggest disappointment. Good question. From a positive standpoint, I don't know if it's fair to count the Patriots as a surprise team. But I think they're going to make a playoff push. I think disappointment-wise, maybe a team like Miami, if Tua's not good. There's a lot of hype around the Rams because they have Matthew Stafford. I need to see more out of them and Arizona Cardinals. There are 4 good teams in the NFC West. One of those teams will end up being a disappointment. ACB collects. Who is the best safety in the NFL? When he's healthy, I'd say Derwin James. He can do anything on the field. So I love Derwin James too. When healthy, he is absolutely in that conversation. However, he hasn't been healthy very much, and I am very much worried about that. So having to factor in the health here, I'm going to go with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think he is amongst a great group of safeties, Justin Simmons, Jesse Bates, Budda Baker, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is the best one right now in the NFL. Top 5 NFL stadiums. Go Giants. Oh, jeez. I don't know. I've only been to a handful of them. I think Jerry World's certainly up there. I feel like Lambeau Field should be there just for the brand, the whole side of it. I like Raymond James because of the cannons, the Bucks game. That's pretty fun there. I've heard good things about the Vikings Stadium. I've been to the Falcons one a lot. What's up, Jeremy? You want to unmute yourself? Yeah,
I have a friend who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. He says electric, one of the most electric environments he's ever been in.
All right, I could see Arrowhead being really good there. Okay, I forget what it's called right now. The Seahawks, it was CenturyLink, then they changed it. That one is a special stadium, so I'd say Arrowhead's in there. Heinz Field's field is too bad for me to include that. Worst stadium, Soldier Field, if only because of the All-22 footage is just garbage. From Gary Sanderson, coaches on the hot seat. I mean, I think Zach Taylor for the Bengals is a big one. If the Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury don't make a real playoff run and or at least push, I think he ends up getting fired as well. I think Vic Fangio, Denver Broncos, if they miss the playoffs, even if the quarterback plays bad and it's not Fangio's fault, with a new regime in charge, he might end up being on the hot seat as well. From my burner account, who is the most overrated and underrated player in the NFL? Well, from an underrated perspective, I am a huge fan of Jesse Bates. He's not regarded as like the top 5, top 10, top whatever safety that he should be. Frankly, he's top 5, and he ain't 5 on that list. I am a big-time believer in Jesse Bates, the Bengals safety. From an overrated perspective, the people who I like to go quarterbacks here. Matthew Stafford leaves the Lions and goes to the Rams and is now top 6 quarterback. Doesn't make any sense to me. That's a pretty. He's good. He's in that top 10 conversation, but he's not 6 as far as I'm concerned. Other overrated players. Jeez. I think Sam Darnold, people believing in him, I don't agree with that. He's never been good in his NFL career. I'm sorry. There's no way around that there. Carson Wentz has seen his stock dip significantly, but I think that's a name that should probably be mentioned as well. You guys let me know what you think in the comments section. From Jordan Maloney, who are your top 3 defensive tackles to start the season? So I'm going interior guys only. Number 1, unquestionably, is Aaron Donald. There's no way around it. He is the best player in the NFL right now, outside of perhaps Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, I'm going to go with Chris Jones of the Chiefs. After that, it gets a little bit tough. I think DeForest Buckner, Cam Hayward, Fletcher Cox, Jeffrey Simmons, and I'd also want to throw in Quinnen Williams inside that conversation. I think he's going to have a huge year, but he's probably not top 3 right now. So I'll go with DeForest Buckner over Hayward and Cox barely.